Expectations versus reality. There's this dissonance that we always experience in life. What we thought was going to happen, what we anticipated happening, versus what actually happened and what actually reality is. I really struggle sometimes with the reality of things because it doesn't mirror and match exactly what I expected in my head. There's several examples in my life currently. One, eating disorder recovery. I thought it would be a straight line, and it ain't. Moving to a new location, I thought I would paint the walls and build my furniture and everything would instantly feel like a home, but it takes way more than that. And putting together this record and trying to make my soul's work come to life. Again, I thought it was going to be a straight line, but really it's one big, long spiral. So today we want to talk about expectations versus reality, some of the experiences we've had with that, the dissonance in our lives, and what do we do when expectations are not meeting reality and vice versa.
This is Coffee and Catastrophe with Brent and Gabi.
So Brent, expectations versus reality. Can you think of something that really didn't match up between your expectation and the reality of it?
As a child, looking at myself as an adult. So, when I was in middle school, the big comedy at the time was the first American Pie movie. So in the movie, it's stereotypical, like there's a big party, all the teens are trying to have sex, and there's drinking. I totally thought that's what my high school would have been like. It was definitely not the case. I also saw it at an age where I wasn't sure what path in life I would take. So my junior year, actually between my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year, or my junior, I can't remember what I was doing in 2003, but on May 19th, 2003 is when I made the decision to not smoke, drink, or do drugs. So I completely missed out on that part of the high school and even college experience. Another key thing that I completely expected what to turn out differently was just my social interactions with people, even from a younger age now to an adult. Even when, at the older I get, I have really bad social anxiety, which sounds really strange because at my places of work, I'm very performative as an extrovert. Most of the time, when I'm going to the grocery store, I just want to go the fuck home. I don't want to be around any large group of people. So I'm still kind of coming to terms with that, of how the reality is I'm never going to really fit in no matter where I go, or at least feel like I fit in. It's just really fucking strange, especially as a grown adult realizing this.
I think I know exactly. Well, I don't know exactly, but I think I have a parallel in that, I also feel like there's a lot of distance between what I thought adulthood would be like and what it actually is. And the good news is, I think for the most part, being an adult, I'm really happy. And I don't know if that's just because of having traumatic experiences in childhood and high school that have made me really love adulthood or what. But, there is difference between, say, I think if you asked 18-year-old me, where do you think you're going to be at 26? I would probably have said way more stuff would be accomplished with my music. I probably would think or hope I had a long-term boyfriend, possibly getting married, having a dog. I don't know if I would have believed I would be living in this city. I don't know. I just think that it was very different. And one thing that I brought up in the intro that I'm really had to get comfortable with, not only in the creative process of writing music, but in eating disorder recovery. Have you heard of the spiral of healing?
No.
So it was first introduced to me in the book Intuitive Eating, because that was part of my recovery. And it's a book about how there's these 10 principles that you can live your eating life by that really trust the fact that you were born and could ask for food by way of crying and you stopped when you were full. But as we get older and socialized, we start taking in all these messages about what food is and thinking that we should demonize certain foods or we're virtuous for eating these foods or doing these behaviors, right? The idea of the spiral of healing is that as you change and grow and develop and heal from, in my case, eating disorder, you're going to return to thoughts and behaviors But every time you do that, you're slightly ahead on the spiral. So even though you're returning to it, it feels different and it doesn't have as much power over you as it once did. And so like, while I'm a very like linear thinker, like I tell this to my students all the time, like whenever I am preparing to write a paper or an argument, I'm the person who has to outline like everything. Like with the couple of books that recently, well, the one that was published and the other one that's on its way to being published, I, with my co-author, like really wanted like an outline. I wanted to know like what the end was and how we were going to get there. And because I'm such a linear thinker like that in my writing and in my argument formation, I really, really thought that that's how my healing journey would be with eating disorder recovery. That the only way that it really has been is that I haven't binged. I'm sorry, trigger warning. I should probably be better about like saying the trigger, the content warning before I actually fucking say it. But like I haven't binged in a year, and that is probably the only linear aspect of healing that I've done. It's a lot of returning to thoughts and behaviors or ideas or being invited into old behaviors and that impacting me, but in a way where I can reflect upon it, not act in it. You know what I'm saying?
Because reflecting it and acting upon it kind of gets you to two different sides and two different means to the end, if that made any sense. Mm-hmm. So do you mean kind of like how you... So what, like I'm trying to get this image of the spiral. Like, is it kind of like a spiral, like seashell? You know, like where they kind of looks like, you know, it starts from the outside and then like the circles go inward to where like the very middle is like the starting point, kind of like that.
I see it as, you remember the Wizard at Great America, Six Flags?
Yeah.
You remember that the trains have to go through this upward spiral to get to the top?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, where like low point or like a spiral staircase where like you start at the bottom, started at the bottom. You start at the bottom and then you step up and you step up and you step up. And all of a sudden you're kind of at like the south part of the staircase. Well, as you climb higher, you still end up facing south again at one point, but you have a different vantage point on that thing. So like, if my spiral staircase had, when we apply it to like the 4 cardinal directions, like I start and I'm facing south. Well, then I climb a little higher and then again I'm facing south, but on my journey upwards, then when I'm confronted with, you know, the south facingness again, I've gained how many of their other things since I've came up the staircase. So to make it even more concrete, if south is like binging, so I take 7 steps up and I'm facing south again. And I have that thought of, you know, oh my God, like, I feel like I'm out of control. I feel like I'm going to binge. I would just want to numb out. I just want to numb out. I'm going to binge. But now I have this new vantage point of, oh, I want to numb out. That's what this is. Okay, I want to numb out. What is the thing I could do instead of binging to cope with my feelings right now? Okay, well, I'm going to journal. And then I can walk again. And then once more, I'm going to face south again and be confronted with, ooh, I want to numb out. Ooh, I want to numb out. Okay, what can I do this time? I know I just want to numb out. See what I mean?
Okay, that makes more sense because I didn't really have the visual in my head beforehand, so it's hard to imagine. For sure.
It's like, again, like I hadn't heard of this in my 25 years of life at the time until I read that book.
My journey with expectations and reality, my emotions are caught in between what is happening and what I think is going to happen. So I'm never really 100% grounded.
I would say that's pretty stereotypical or characteristic of an anxious person, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm definitely very anxious. Like most social settings I go into, I expect... So for instance, I was at a party a few weeks ago and I thought I was going to be like interacting with people and nodding my head and like winking and giving like the pew pew, you know, the gun salute
finger
thing.
Guns.
The finger guns, like when they walk by. But I just like was in the corner the whole time, just completely shut down, which is completely uncharacteristic of like my persona.
Yeah.
But that's how that is. Most interactions and conversations I have with people now are kind of based off of certain bad experiences I've had, like especially when it comes to bringing up serious topics that have been on my mind with people, I kind of revert back down to this one feeling I get of just extreme dread. There's one person that was really close in my life. Whenever I brought anything serious to their attention, they would completely flip out. And it was just an ugly situation after that.
When you say flip out, do you mean that they were... Like, what do you mean? Like, you couldn't talk about death? Do you mean you couldn't talk about serious topics? Like, what do you mean?
What I mean is, hey, you did this thing. It bothered me. I just wanted to let you know about it. And they're like, no, it's just you got this dark maze of your mind and it's how you perceive it. Like, it was just... a
lot of, like, gaslighting and, like, saying how, like, not taking responsibility.
Yeah, completely.
Blaming it all on you.
Yeah.
Gaslighting.
So everyone else that I have in my life right now where I bring up those kind of things to, they're completely, like, cool and understanding about it. And not like that one person at all. So I still have that like initial dread of confrontation just because that whole like dichotomy took a giant piece of me with them when it ended.
I think that that's very real for many people. And I think that a lot of work is done and undone based upon putting more stock in expectation over reality and vice versa. So, for example, in that case that you just talked about, you learned then, I can't go to this person. And sometimes people have that experience and they think they can't go to anybody and say, I can't ever say what's going on with me. I can't ever be honest about conflicts that or how you've made me feel because you're just going to shut me down, right?
Yeah.
And so then it becomes this thing of like, oh, reality for me is I can never, ever, ever talk about conflict because what I expect is this person to explode at me, right?
Yeah.
Even, maybe I'm painting with a broad brush, but I would imagine or think that a lot of people have had a similar experience of like, you feel like something's going to go one way and then you get kind of conditioned that it's another way. I know we were just talking about before we started recording this, like how I had a dynamic with a person where after experiencing it for so long, I thought all people like them were, oh, I'm being so fucking vague. So basically, I had an experience where I thought that all men were like this because that was all I had experienced was from this person versus now knowing, no, that's not how all men act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You would take that with any group, any type of person, anything where like you're just met with this experience and then you come to expect that when the reality is no, not all people in this group act like that.
I felt that way about bacon on cheeseburgers or other sandwiches. I had a lot of sandwiches and hamburgers throughout my life where I would take a bite into the burger and what would happen is as I would like pull away, the whole strip of bacon would come with. And it was too tough. It was like a piece of beef jerky. However, there are some places where you go there and the bacon is actually, like it's just nice and it's part of the texture of the burger. So when you bite into it and you pull away, half of the bacon or whatever you have left of the bite is still there. So that little piece of bacon that I've had on a lot of shit throughout my life really set the standard for why I don't like bacon on any of my burgers or sandwiches. I love bacon by itself, like for breakfast, like in my eggs and shit. Not in my eggs, but with my eggs. On a sandwich, I can't fucking do it.
I literally have had the same experience. And granted, the last time I had bacon on a burger, I was maybe 14. But I agree. Like, you think, oh, I like bacon for breakfast. It's all crispy. It's delicious. It's salty, which, opposes the creaminess of like the scrambled eggs that I love or the crunchiness of the toast. Like it's crunchy in a different way. Oh, you put this on a burger, which is already delicious. But then it's like, oh my God, this is too much. I fucking hate bacon on burgers. I don't get it, to be honest. I mean, obviously I don't. I'm vegetarian, but.
Right. I don't like it on everything. Some things I just want to have, like the chicken sandwich, I just want to have the chicken on it. I don't want the bacon on there. Sometimes I just want to have a nice burger. Sometimes I just want to have a nice salad. I don't want to have any bacon in the shit. I just want what I want without bacon in it. It seems like even a few years ago, there was a lot more bacon included with all kinds of shit with food.
I agree. And like my thing, like, so I'm doing this new thing in my classroom where instead of roll call where kids say here to say that they're present, I have them, I have a question that we all answer. And not that usually what I used to do was I just like scanned the room, figured out who was here and who wasn't, like marked it and didn't say anything. But now it's kind of like a way to like get to know each other better and make sure everyone like has a chance to speak that day. So like on Friday, the question was, what's your favorite pizza topping? And if you didn't like pizza, you could say another food that you liked and really enjoyed. And people were saying bacon. And I was just like, I didn't tell it to them, but all I was thinking was like, bacon on pizza is so excessive. Why would you do that? Like, and the bacon's not gonna be crispy. Like, ew. It's just gonna be like bacon bogged down by cheese grease on pizza.
I use the bacon analogy in terms of gauging all of my interactions and expectations with people. The bad ones kind of shaped all of the expectations going forward. Now that I think of it, there's very few amazing interactions I've had. I've remembered the amazing reactions, but I don't use those amazing interactions as the basis of comparison with actions going forward. If I get great customers, like let's just say if I had an amazing waiter or waitress, they were attentive and on top of things and they were personable and working really hard. I'm like, oh my God. Like there's this one waitress, my mom and I, like she took me out to Baker Square in Gurnee when I was, I don't know, this is a long time ago. I was still a kid. The waitress was so amazing and attentive and exactly everything that I said. And to this day, my mom and I still talk about her. We never got her name.
And you only had her one time?
One time.
Aww.
Have never gone into a restaurant since and thought, hey, I'm going to get this exact kind of service. There was another waitress that we experienced. I went out with my family at Richard's Chicken in Round Lake. And this is...
Where's that? Was that the place that was Brown's Chicken?
No, the Richard's Chicken is still where it is today in Round Lake, kind of right across the street from the famous Orlando's place off of Rollins Road.
I don't think I know where it is, but continue. Sorry.
There was an old waitress there with the shittiest attitude where, okay, one of my least favorite responses and salutations with people is I'm like, say, hey, how's it going? How you doing? I'm here. I fucking can't stand that to this day. I'm not saying like, blow me as a response. I'm just saying like, yeah, I'm here, or same shit, different day. It's like, okay, I get it. And from there, she was just so shitty. Like, with the waffle, I ordered a Belgian waffle and I just asked for like, yeah, may I please have like an extra couple packets of butter? And she's like, well, you think I'm just all legs or something? It's just like, you piece of shit. She's probably dead now because she was pretty old.
What did she reply when you asked for more butter?
She like something to the effect like, you think I'm just made out of legs and I can just walk around and get things for you? It's like, you're a piece of shit.
It's kind of your job right now.
Yeah.
And I'm being like, you're not a dick. You were being polite, I'm sure.
Yeah, she's dead now, so it's fine. But
that's consolation, I suppose.
Yeah, that basis is the one I take with me going into any other eating establishment because those two types of people exist, and I've had a lot of great service elsewhere. I still think I'm going to get fucked in certain places I go to. However, when I am with some of my friends, I notice that sometimes we meet the best people that we end up remembering forever. Like the manager at the Round Lake GameStop. I mentioned him before on the podcast. He was the one who, when I was banned from trading in anything for 3 months, he was the one that gave me all of the deals and trading credit that I missed.
Wow.
He is still the coolest manager like I've ever dealt with, like in any company. There was another guy at a pawn shop where we would go to, and no matter what the price was, like let's just say if like there was a video game for $20, he's like, yeah, I'll give it $2. And we're like, what the fuck?
Wow.
He turned us into lifelong customers, but then he left and we like rarely go there anymore.
That reminds me of, so like my ex and I used to have really good luck with people, and people would really, it was one of those things where like people would gravitate towards you that were like positive. And one experience I remember is that, have you ever been to the Silo in Lake Bluff? It's a pizza place.
Yes.
So we went there. This is the only time I've been there. We went and we're having dinner, And our waiter was like a younger guy, and he was really nice and friendly. And we're like sitting there, and like we finished our pizza, got bagged up, and he's telling us it's his last shift, and he's going out and doing this business thing. And like we were just like really wishing him well, and you know, just being nice, and he was being nice back. And all of a sudden he comes out with dessert for us, and we're like, oh my God, you'd have to do that. And he's like, yeah, like it's on, you know, it's on me, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay. So we eat it, we thank him, and it's really nice. And we're waiting, and we don't see him, and we don't see him, and we don't see him. And all of a sudden he comes back, and he's like, what? You guys think that I'm going to leave you with the check? And we're like, what? And he's like, you're on me tonight. All your food is on me. My gift to you. Like, you guys have been fantastic. It's my last night here. And we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we paid it. We must have had like $30 or $40 worth of food. Like, please let us pay you. And he's like, nah, man, it's my last time here. Like, this is the least I could do. And y'all are fucking cool. And like, yeah. And so I'm pretty sure we were like, we need to at least tip you like what we would have paid. And we must have done it, or maybe he took it and then he gave it back, like something like that. But like, that's an example of like, that's never, ever happened past that point. Right. And I didn't let that experience be the expectation every time I go out to eat, right?
Yeah. One of my things that I kind of want to improve upon, not only with my perceptions, but just with life, is to just kind of make more room for like goodness in the world, whether through random acts of kindness or just like reactions and behavior and just being like decent people, you know? Because it's weird how that's the thing that people expect the least. I can understand like being like screwed or whatever. A lot of people are braced for the negativity, but when something like generally good comes along and people are just genuinely shocked, like in that moment right there, that guy didn't have to do that.
No.
There have been a lot of instances where people just went out of their way to be cool to me. You know, on my birthday a few years ago, I went out to breakfast with my parents, and this guy came up to the car, and I was like, oh, shit. You know, yeah. Like just my social anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. So he did like the crank hand motion to roll down the window.
Because it's 1997 and all of our windows crank still.
Yeah, that's still kind of like the general like miming gesture of roll down your window.
Because I don't know, other than doing like a downward pointing motion, I don't know.
Yeah, because then I would think like, yeah, suck my dick if he's just pointing down, even though that's more accurate of rolling down a window in a modern car.
Yeah.
He's rolled down the window. I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? And he's like, bro, your tire's like completely flat in the back. And I'm like, what? And it was on the passenger side too.
Oh, wow.
So I got out and I looked at it and it was fucked up. And I'm like, bro, thank you so much for letting me know. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And I was able to go to the gas station and get like air. It wasn't like completely penetrated, but it was like low. So I was able to fill it up and get back home on time. And that was fantastic. I think every time I've had a flat tire, I've had people trying to get my attention.
Yeah, or I think about like, I see people like who don't have their lights on, or like one of their headlights are out, or like their tail lights out. And I like want to tell them like your tail lights out, your headlights out, like, you don't know. I saw this quote this morning, and it goes along the lines of this kindness thing. It says, kindness is a simple way of letting another struggling soul know that there is love to be found in this world.
It's pretty deep.
It's so fucking deep. Who said this? It's an Instagram page called There's Good in Store. I don't know if this is a specific person who deserves attribution, but like I thought that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard, and exactly the reason why we need to be kind to each other. Yeah.
The expectation is for, at least the way I see it now, especially in like the social media landscape, the expectation is like for there to just be a lot of shittiness. But the reality I see is I have kind of gained a new restored sense of faith in humanity over the past few years. And I've just really seen like goodness in people, not in terms of what they've done for me, because I think that's a selfish kind of like tit for tat commodity and exchange, but just like observing goodness in people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll give you an example. At my warehouse job, we had a manager who was new to the shift, and he didn't really interact with the team too much. He was a great guy. I got to know him pretty well because I would stay past my usual schedule time to do the nightly reports. Great guy. he didn't really interact with the team much because it's hard to do that when you're on the floor and shit's going down and we're sorting packages and everything. So he had his last day at the facility the other day. So people went out of their way they just bought like dozens of donuts to have like a nice celebration for him and thank him just for being a cool guy. And someone gave him a gift because they know like sometimes you order something online and you get it in a very big box, even though it's a small item. So as a joke, they put his goodbye card in a gigantic box, taped it up, and then they put a sticker on it that was supposed to mimic a label, but the label itself was hand drawn.
Oh my God.
With barcodes and everything. And then like he opened it up and he was very appreciative of that. And it's like, this guy didn't really go out of his way to leave a lasting impression on people, nor did he get to know people on an individual level. Yet our team came together to just make him feel appreciated.
Yeah.
Like whenever somebody has a birthday, there's always someone, they make a big ass cake, they bring some badass food. We did a Secret Santa on Christmas, and this was not done, it was not the corporation's idea. It was just like, hey, we're going to do the Secret Santa. And it's just like people just going out of their way to be fucking awesome to each other.
So we started something at work, not we, but my department chair, where we do birthday buddies, where like everyone at the beginning of the year pulled someone's name and we have their birthday, and like you were responsible for like bringing in treats or like doing something special for them on their birthday. So like one of my friends, Sarah, we have this coworker who she's the best, and she doesn't say swears. So instead of saying Jesus Christ, she says cheese and crackers. And then instead of saying like, she says, oh, cuss, instead of like swearing. Like, she's just the best. And so my friend Sarah put out a spread of cheese and crackers and made a sign that said cheese and crackers. It's so-and-so's birthday, and like beautiful spread of food. Right. So just like, I agree. And in how difficult this world is to live in, and like none of us are making it out alive. Like it's really dire out there. Possibly one of the best things you can do and the easiest thing you can do is be kind to somebody. And like, I do agree there's a lot of negativity out there. I also think we have to be a lot kinder to ourselves.
Yeah, that is true. I think the way I understand its importance, I think that kind of has lost its meaning in translation over the years in terms of just like the implementation, because there's no, like, it's very subjective of what it means to take better care of yourself. Like there's basic stuff like your health and, you know, getting your like finances straight. Don't smoke as many cigarettes. Don't suck as many bleeding dicks, like whatever the case is.
Yeah, I've had to like stop doing that entirely.
Yeah.
I heard there's like bad things that happen when you suck bleeding dicks.
You know, because like you could contract, you might get a stomach ache.
Yeah.
For a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. All that blood, eating that's not good for you.
No, you know, and it's just, you gotta like slow down with that. I think it's one of those things where we just kind of have to really take into consideration just how much of a different, like I'm reading Diamond Dallas Page's book called, I think if I'm getting the title correct, it's called Positively Unstoppable or something Unstoppable. It's his newest one. And he even said this during his WWE Hall of Fame induction in 2017. He says, you have no idea how much power you give someone just by believing in them.
I agree. It was something to that effect was also said in Kevin Smith's book, Tough Shit. And he said that it costs you absolutely nothing to encourage somebody to live their dream and do their life's purpose. It costs you absolutely nothing, and you might be making the biggest difference in the world to that person. And if you think about it, in a world that really profits off of us staying safe and small and not doing the things that we think we are meant for, the most helpful thing you can do is tell that person, I believe in you and I think you can do it. And I'm so excited for you. And please let me know how I can help you.
And to say it genuinely as well. Mm-hmm. And I think people are able to tell whether or not it's an empty gesture, but it means so much more as opposed to hearing, well, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you're going to make money doing that? How are you going to make money? How are you going to make your ends meet doing that? Or
don't quit your day job.
Yeah. Some other shit like that. Or like, oh, well, how are you going to make that happen?
I had a recent experience at a Christmas party where a former family friend, for reasons, asked me, why would I invest in recording equipment? Why wouldn't I just go to a recording studio? And this person has no idea how shit works, right? But it was this whole thing of like, why would you do that when you could just like go to an expert? Like, what are you doing? And this person has no idea again. And it was just like, you know what? You could just shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. Or B, say like, wow, like that is so cool that you want to do this all on your own and you're going to learn so much. I'm so happy for you. Like,
yeah.
Seriously. But that would require that person not to be a fucking bitch. And I don't think they're capable of that. This person, okay, let me be petty for like 3 seconds. This person smokes a lot of weed. And all I wanted to say was, I thought that weed was supposed to make you less of a bitch and calm the fuck down.
So,
and also eat something. That was me, and I'm sorry. That was uncalled for. I really apologize. But like, fuck that person.
Well,
sorry. Now Gabby gets to be the one who says bad shit.
Yeah.
Season 4 is all about Gabby saying the wrong thing all the time.
Wow. The tables have turned. So your expectations are completely different for this show now.
Our audience is probably like, what the fuck is going on?
They're probably not listening past this point because as soon as you said that, they just immediately shut off they just immediately went to Snapchat or another YouTube video or I don't know, maybe somebody in the media is getting their head cut off or something. Like, but they would rather watch that than hear you be negative.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're probably like writing an angry tweet as we speak.
Yeah.
Just like, how dare Gabby tell this girl to go eat something? How rude. And it was rude. And I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. She should not go eat something. Sorry.
What if it was a dick?
That sounds a little violent.
That'd be kind of fucked up. Like if it was like on a like if it had that silver dome on a plate.
Yeah.
To keep the steam.
That
in,
would be gross.
Then you lifted it up.
Oh, I thought it'd be like a cold dick. If you're gonna eat a dick, it's got to be cold, so you like suffer through it, right?
No, it's like kind of it's like a beef Wellington. It's just like wrapped in dough and then baked, and then it's served with like asparagus.
That's too appetizing.
Yeah, it's fucked up. That's really. Imagine if you did go to a fine dining restaurant, and you're like, yeah, I'll order this, and then they actually brought you like human blood and fucking flesh. That would
that'd be gross.
I don't think you'd be looking at Taco Bell the same way again about giving you the runs.
Can I just be real? I really love Taco Bell, and I really don't like when people say that Taco Bell is bad, because Taco Bell, I think, is like the best fast food chain, like, to be honest, and partially because I can actually eat food there, but also because like Taco Bell is Taco Bell is Taco Bell. Like when you get Taco Bell, you know what you're getting. When the Taco Bell is bad, you just accept it because it's Taco Bell. And then when it's like really good, you're like, fuck yeah, Taco Bell. Like that's me waxing poetic about that. Also, speaking of eating dicks, do you know that there was a company, I think it is now defunct, and it was this company that would send bags of gummy dicks to your enemy with a letter that said, eat a bag of dicks. There was also one that you could hire to send glitter to your enemy, where like you opened it up and it was just glitter that got fucking everywhere.
I heard about the glitter. I wish the dick company was still around.
Yeah, I don't think it's around anymore, but it was literally called like eat a bag of dicks or something like that. And they would send bags of gummy dicks. That is the best company ever. And I swear if that they are now defunct, there's no reason for us to be on this planet anymore.
Well, I mean, hey, if they're bringing back WWE ice cream bars in the form of WWE ice cream sandwiches available in your frozen section this April.
There's WWE ice cream sandwiches?
Oh my God.
Like when you say ice cream sandwich, you talking like the thing where it's like what is... Okay, so like I want you to picture like the ice cream sandwich with like the two brown things and the vanilla ice cream.
Yes.
What are the brown things?
They're like a wafer, I think. They're like a soggy wafer.
But it's so cakey.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, it's not a brownie. It's not a cookie.
They're all different. The original WWE ice cream, WWF ice cream bars.
Oh, WWF, yes.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, like they had like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, and then they had a slight resurgence in like 2006 for like a little bit, and then they went away. And then when CM Punk was rising in popularity in 2011, he cut a promo where his character wanted demands from the boss. Like, okay, I want the title match. I want to have CM Punk the movie. I want socks. I want my own merchandise. I want you to bring back WWE ice cream bars. And everyone went fucking crazy. And to this day, specifically like when there's WrestleMania in town, and if there's a dull moment in a match or a segment during the TV show, people will chant, "We want ice cream, clap, 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 clap." Well, they don't say clap, but...
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious.
They're bringing them back.
Dude.
Except they're not going to have the stick. It was just picture like a beige, like wafer and like vanilla ice cream in the middle. And instead of having the wooden stick in there, it's going to be a squarish, almost rectangular-ish ice cream sandwich. But it's going to be the same, and it's going to be fucking... I'm expecting it to make me feel erotic feelings instantly. Like, I'm going to bite into Roman Reigns' fucking pants. Or whoever's pants I'm just going to bite their fucking face off, and I'm just going to be moaning like in ecstasy. The reality is
that you're a 33-year-old man and that's going to be bad.
I'm going to be in line waiting. Or I'm actually going to do something completely uncharacteristic of me and talk to an employee that works at the grocery store. I'm like, "Yeah, do you have the WWE ice cream sandwiches?" And they're going to be like, "Wait, we have those. We don't, what? What are you talking about, dude? We didn't know we had those ice cream sandwiches. If I would have known that, I would have had some myself." And I'm just like, "Oh no, this is why I don't talk to people, because now we're having a conversation where I just want him to go, 'No, we don't have it.
Leave.'"
Yeah, that's it. But that is part of that goodness kind of coming back into the world, even though it's through an ice cream sandwich. I also think just doing little things, like not going out of your way to be an asshole to somebody. Just little shit,
I agree. I still can't wait to have a WWE ice cream bar with you, to be honest. That sounds delicious right now. But I think that in life, if you can like latch on to the things that like get you excited, and like even if you like are in a bit of an illusion of what the reality of that thing is going to be, like for example, like you're not going to have an orgasm when you eat that WWE ice cream sandwich. I don't think you're going to have an orgasm. But that being said, will you have a beautiful nostalgic moment where you look down at that ice cream and you say, "Yes"? And are you going to eat 2 bites of it and think it's the best thing you've ever tasted? Yes. And then on that 3rd bite, are you going to realize that you're going to be shitting yourself for a week? Yes. But that's just how it's going to be, baby.
You just gave a synopsis for like my fantasy porn. Because it still ends in orgasm. But it's just me eating an ice cream sandwich, and I'm staring off at the distance with tears in my eyes, like waxing poetic about my childhood. And then the Mellotron part of Tuesday's Gone by Lynyrd Skynyrd comes on, like really loud, and I cry harder. And then the music, like record scratches off, and then you just hear blur, and then like that's the end. That's the end of the reality.
That was beautiful.
Anyway,
I'm trying to think of something that really my expectations were not met. Well, I could probably say a lot of Star Wars fans, their expectations were not met in this last movie. Although, again, still haven't seen it. They probably are, moviegoers, fandoms are probably people that expectation and reality, when they have dissonance, they probably suffer the most. Same with sports fans. If they think that like if their team's gonna have a good season, then they don't, it's misery. The one that came to my mind earlier when I was like, what is the what's an experience you've had with dissonance between expectation and reality? The one that hit me really hard was, oh man, when I thought that My Chemical Romance's 4th album, Danger Days, was gonna be good. And then it wasn't.
It was all fucked up.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like, yeah, Na Na Na's a great song, and I guess Vampire Money's okay, and Kids from Yesterday is kind of cute, but like, what's up with the rest of that shit?
Those moments are waiting for us, like those feelings of just utter disappointment. Because when it doesn't meet our expectations, and I've always found that when I'm completely like blown away, my expectations are exceeded. It's not necessarily an active New Year's resolution that I consciously made per the new year, but decided on a few days into it. I don't even think I told you. I want to try to catch up with all kinds of TV shows.
Really?
Yeah, there's so much shit I haven't seen. So the first TV show I got into and watched the entire season was this show on Prime called Undone.
Haven't seen it, but since you have Prime, have you watched Fleabag?
Not yet.
I've heard that Fleabag is amazing. I've heard Mrs. Maisel's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't heard shit about Undone. I think on Rotten Tomatoes, I got 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's only 8 episodes, 20 minutes apiece. It's animation, so it's rotoscope. So they actually filmed the actors acting, and then they did animation, like, rotoscope over it. And it's just like this, like, time-bending narrative, like this chick, the lead protagonist gets into a car accident. And while she's recovering, she notices that she has inherited these powers to, like, experience time non-linearly.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That sounds really cool.
It's bad. Check it out. 2.5 hours, you'll watch the entire series from episode 1 to episode 8 for just season 1.
That's cool. I feel like expectation and reality with TV is really hard when seasons don't meet expectation. Again, like a fandom. So like the two that came to my mind was that I think that Sons of Anarchy season 1 and Dexter season 1 are the best seasons of those two shows, and everything else can go fuck itself. I think it's bad. I think it's shitty. I think it sucks.
I felt that way with Heroes. You remember that show?
I never watched it, but I remember it.
The first season was... It blew my mind. It was like eating the ice cream sandwich. It's like
Lost. No one liked the ending of Lost. I haven't even seen an episode of Lost, and I know everyone hated it.
I felt the same way with the ending of the series finale of The Sopranos.
You know what? Here's expectation reality. I watched the first season of The Sopranos. Kind of got it, kind of didn't. Started the second season, couldn't finish it. I was like, oh, this is not very good. Same with The Witcher on Netflix. Okay, here's the thing. Geralt of Rivia. He's hot. I think in many ways I am Geralt of Rivia. We just have these weird parallels. Go with me. It's not really good. It's not really well written. It's too much jumping around. I don't like it. No. The video game is apparently really, really good. The books are apparently really, really good. No. So there's that. And then, then I'm the person shitting on The Witcher, which is something I don't want to be. Yeah. I just thought it was shitty writing and didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because they're based on the books and were the books shittily written, but a lot of people like them. I don't know. Yeah.
TV shows and movies, if they usually do something right, it's hard to keep that momentum throughout it unless they already had a predetermined plan. Like with Heroes season 1, the entire story arc of the whole show and the characters ended with the season finale. There was a little bit of obscurity in terms of what happened to this character, but all of the major plot lines were closed, settled, and resolved. So season 2, 3, and 4, they were completely rushed in terms of the writing. It seemed like they didn't have any forethought into developing these characters further, and whenever they did have a great idea, it would literally end the next episode. It happened in season 3 where this one character inherited a new superpower, and it would have taken the show in a completely different direction and completely changed the genre into a mystery, and then the next episode he lost the fucking power.
I think that there's just poor writing, abounds in so many different places. And the hard thing with TV is that, like you said earlier, in order for it to work, things have to be played out way before, the writers have to know where they're going and how they're going to get there. And when they don't, I think it shows.
Yeah. I've been let down by TV shows and movies and stuff like that, I've kind of learned to not really have my expectations too high because there's very few like canonical pieces of media that I'm into where I would be disappointed by. It used to be like that with video games, but I haven't been keeping up with video games ever since I sold them all last year. So if they made a game in a franchise and it turned out to be a big piece of shit, I wouldn't be as let down because I'm just completely out of that. Mm. I think one of the biggest things in terms of expectations versus reality that has been apparent in my life has been just dealing with cancer. When I was in high school in 2002, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. He was like the point leading up to it, he wouldn't keep food down. Like he would just seem really pale in the face, and we just thought that like he was constipated or something. As odd as that sounds, it's just like with the symptoms, we had no idea. So he was stubborn and went and didn't really want to go to the doctor. And on Christmas Eve, we tried to eat and he couldn't get down any more than 2 or 3 bites of food. And you can tell like something was very, very wrong. And then a day or two later, I woke up and he was rushed to the hospital because he just said, okay, there's something really wrong. So when he got to the hospital, they told him that he got there just in time because he was really fucked up. So the stage 4 colon cancer means like it has taken up a large amount of your intestines and colon, and it really spread and it got really nasty. So during that time, I was really fucked up, and I only told a couple of friends because I didn't want to be the kid in school who, you know, like, oh, that guy's dad has cancer. I didn't want to have all that attention on me. And the doctors, my dad kind of like kept this information from us, but my mom was able to get some information out of the doctors in terms of his prognosis, and he says it's not looking good at all. We're going to try to reconstruct a few things, but we're going to have to remove so much, and his quality of life is just going to be really bad and shitty afterwards. So it's not like if he has a 20% chance of living. So after that, you know, our family was devastated.
Right.
Because
how could you not be?
Yeah, because, you know, cancer is never a thing where anybody wants, but it completely leaves ripples, and it fucking creates craters and all kinds of issues with finances and just emotions and going to work and going to school. And like during that time, like when my dad was in the hospital, he was in there for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's how fucked up it was. And my mom tried to like keep our spirits high, and she took me to the movie theater to see Bad Santa. She doesn't like seeing movies like that. She's really much against seeing cruelty to children. And in that movie, like they bully the kid and all that stuff. And we saw the movie Big Fish in theaters too. And
I love Big Fish.
Yeah, my mom and I were just fucking weeping in the car afterwards. So this whole time when my dad was in the hospital, he was making jokes with the nurses and the doctors. So right before he went under the knife for the surgery, the doctor attests to this story too. He looked at the doctor. He like pulled the nurse close. He said, "Hey, come here. I have a request." And then she was like, "What?" And she like got close to him. And then he said, "When you put me under, can you please promise me not to lift up my apron and look at my pee-pee?"
What?
Yeah. And
what?
Yeah. But
okay, I'm horrified. I really don't think that's funny.
But she said, "No problem, Pete, no problem." So they performed the surgery, and then like he recovered, and then he asked the nurse, he said, "Did they do it?" And she said, no, they didn't do it. Like it was totally fine. And the whole time he was just making jokes and like trying to be as funny as he could, even though he was the one who literally had his guts like taken out of his body. And he started developing severe infections, like in his, like, because what happened was he was given a colostomy bag. And for those of you who don't know, a colostomy bag is like a plastic pouch that is attached to the end of your exposed intestine. So when you shit, you literally shit into a bag, and the bag fills up, and it makes noises it's literally like instead of like shitting out of your ass, you shit into this bag that's hanging out of your stomach.
Jesus.
So he came home, and what had happened was he got a really awful infection, and his stitch. So like this was in 2002, so the technology is nowhere near as advanced as it is now. So he went into the doctor, and like his scars were open, so you could actually see his abdomen, like inside. Like it looked like a horror movie. Oh. And my mom took care of the wounds every single day.
Oh my God!
And we were all fucked up and everything. And what happened was he had to go back in for the surgery because the infections got too serious. And it turned out like there was this little piece of his intestine that was hanging out of his body called his stoma. And the stoma had died. So I would walk past the bedroom every morning, like on my way of just like getting ready for school, and it would smell like a dead body.
Oh my God.
And it literally was rotting flesh.
Oh my God.
Hanging out of his body. So he still had a very hard time eating, and he lost a shitload of weight. And they said, all right, you're going to have to go through chemotherapy, like going forward, just to like make sure that the cancer is like rid of your body. So he lost a shitload of weight, and he had to get a heart port. So what a heart port was, because the alternative to having the chemotherapy put inside your veins is instead of like sticking the needle in your arm, however many sessions he had, his alternative was they would go inside his heart, stick a needle in his heart, and have this little, it looked like a coffee filter, like one of those little K-cup filters, and that was sticking out of his chest. So they would just put the needle directly into his chest in like this wire mesh, as opposed to having like his veins get stuck, because at that time his veins had all since collapsed. So
that's what my dad's girlfriend has right now. She's got the heart port. Yeah.
So it's pretty gnarly, and they still do that, to this day, and it's a lot more effective because getting jabbed with the needle just fucking sucks. So if that just like you just slip the needle in and you don't feel as much pain as you do feeling jabbed in the arms, that's a lifesaver. So my dad befriended a few old ladies at this cancer treatment center, and or at least with the chemotherapy. So he would sit in a chair for hours, and it would just be a slow, slow drip of death, literally being injected into his veins.
Yep.
And he said, to pass the time, what the old ladies would do is bring in and watch hardcore porn.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not talking I'm talking, I went in there one time. It was fucking anal. It was hardcore, just like women getting destroyed by cock porn.
Oh my God.
And the old ladies couldn't get enough of it.
Oh my God. I wonder if that's what my dad's girlfriend does. No, I'm just kidding.
She's probably going like right now.
She usually has her daughters with her when she goes. So I hope not. But
so
wow,
it made it kind of easier because you go in there and you're seeing a bunch of people literally on a couch of death, withering away, and you just see this old lady just bringing in a VHS, her own personal VHS copy of fucking porn, and just watching porn all day.
Wow.
So, and even still, like during that whole time, my dad would make jokes, and one of the more humorous parts about it, it's terrible to have, but if you were to look
imagine that, yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes, like, he would have his shirt on, and you could tell he was shitting because it looked like an alien was, like, popping out of his stomach because this fucking turd would be pushing out of his stoma hole into this bag. So it looked like he had a boner on his stomach, like, just popping out. And whenever he farted, it had this little, like, kazoo filter. So it would be like whenever he farted. So he couldn't hide it or hold it in or anything.
Oh, my God.
So he eventually got to the point where his health got better, and he started going to the grocery store again and to, like, just run errands just to get exercise because he's been, like, off of his feet for so long. And he bought like the wrong cut of meat or something. Like, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think he didn't get the sale on like some ground beef that he got, and they wouldn't honor the deal. So he said what he was going to do is he was going to like just go over to the other meat and then just like dip his fingers in his shit bag and then just like sprinkle it, like flick it onto the meat. And he would tell the manager he was going to do this.
Ew.
So
that's
I can keep going on and on. He did have to go back in for another surgery, and the cancer did come back when we thought it was in remission, so he had to do the other rounds of chemotherapy again.
Wow.
And as somebody who has not smoked marijuana since 2003, and someone who is also I'm not going to do it the rest of my life, at least as it stands now, I could easily say marijuana saved my dad's life. He didn't get medical marijuana. He got it from my brother. So my dad actually, it was funny because my mom would get very paranoid saying, like, if the police come into the house, they're going to find the marijuana and we're all going to jail for the rest of our life. So, like, he had to, like, hide the marijuana in, like, the ironing board. So... It was just a nugget. It wasn't even like a pillowcase full. It was a small personal nugget.
It was just a nug? Was one nug.
So he had to like completely like wrap it in like 6 sandwich baggies with a rubber band, unscrew the leg of the ironing board and stuff it in there. So in case the police came to like pick him up to the hospital again, they wouldn't be like, oh, wait, he's got marijuana. Don't send him to the hospital. Send him to the fucking police station.
How did your dad... Okay, so it was a nug. How did your dad smoke it? Did you have a bowl, or did your brother roll a J for him?
He had a wooden hashish pipe. And
did he have a grinder?
No, my brother would like just give him the nugs. My brother had all this shit. My dad did have a small pipe, and he was able to keep food down because like just getting used to the surgery and eating again, you can't just not eat when you're home. But when he smoked that marijuana, he kept everything down. And it was such a fucking miracle.
That's amazing.
To see. So I'm just going to sum all of this up by saying my dad is still alive and he is cancer-free. And he has been cancer-free for more than a decade. And we were told he was going to die.
Yeah.
And we made actual arrangements to plan his death.
My God.
And he's still alive to this day. So the expectations were like that. The reality was it really taught me a lot about just dealing with or even like just communicating with people who have cancer, because it's like when he had it, he was like, I'm so sorry. They treated him like he was someone who had cancer when he didn't want that at all. So I kind of took that piece of wisdom with me. And one of my coworkers ended up having breast cancer. And I completely made all the jokes I could the whole time. And every week we would sit down and talk for hours. Because everyone else would approach her. It gets exhausting after a while. Like, I'm so sorry. My heart goes off to you. I'm going to pray for you. Let me know if you need anything. Those are the very stereotypical things you say. But, you know, I think when I'm able to pull humor out of it, or when you are able to make fun of it, that just makes it more human. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life about expectations versus reality is that that's the ultimate fucking tragedy, but that's still not an excuse to have some sort of positivity or even just in this case dark fun to be had out of it. Yeah. So that's the kind of shit I want to see more of in the world.
That was an amazing story. You're an amazing storyteller, period. But that was an amazing story. I didn't know. I'm sure that I heard at some point that your dad had cancer, but I had no idea the extent to that in that story. Wow. I also feel that my dad's girlfriend's experience with cancer currently, she's battling breast cancer, and her whole, your life is always kind of flipped by those types of things, but her life, my dad bought a place in Florida in April, and then by the time it was, October, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And her treatment team was saying she couldn't go live in Florida with him because she needed treatment up here. And her whole life just flipped. She was, she got to a place with her business where she doesn't need to be there every day. She has great people that she trusts to, run everything for her. She doesn't have to be there every single day. Right. And then bam, fucking cancer. And I think it's with health and almost anything in life. Literally anything could be taken away from us at any moment. There is nothing sacred. There is nothing that death can't touch. There's nothing that change and time won't affect or manipulate how they want to. And I think that we have to just really focus on being here now and not being so fixed upon expectation. I really think of Ram Dass in his book, Be Here Now, which has been really really helpful for me in therapy and in eating disorder recovery, because I think that we get caught up in thinking, oh, well, I'll do X when this happens, or like when I retire, then I can do that, or like when I do this, then I'll finally accomplish this, or if I have this, finally I'll be happy. And it's like, no, you got to be here right now. You got to make it worth living right now. You got to be your happiness right now. There's no waiting. It's all right here, right now, baby. There ain't no other place than right here, right now.
Damn. That's very much true.
Well, you know what we do here. We spit the truth.
Yeah, to the best of our abilities. And try not to be as vulgar about it myself. I always fuck up every episode. So, like this episode, I'm not going to swear or say anything fucked up.
You know, I love you, and you could be vulgar and swear, and I will still love you. At this point, I just expect it. I'm kidding. Well, this has been another great hour talking with you. We'd love to hear from you guys, listeners. You can follow us on Facebook at Coffee and Catastrophe. You can follow us on Twitter at CCWVG. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. All of our episodes are there, as well as on our website, coffeeandcatastrophe.com. We're on iTunes, Catcher. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox. If you like us, please leave a comment, subscribe, like it, give it a 5-star review, whatever the fuck you can do there, because it really does help us out. And the only thing we got to say is take care and be good to each other, guys.
See ya.